Who starts? Hey!
Hey world, how are you today?
Hopefully everybody is amazing out there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems.
And everyone in between. We have an amazing show for you today. Great musical performances, some guests, speakers, some interviews. But before we get started, I have a question for Miss Nikki over here.
Oh, snap. Okay. Hey.
What if someone wants to see the stream, but they don't get a chance to watch it live? What do they do? Is the link still available for just one night? How does it work?
Okay, so amazing. Follow any of us that are in the House of Jax, the official House of Jax, which would be Ms. Duchess over here, Ms. Drewcilla, any of our friends that are performing, such as Dylan Mars and Nikki Horton. I'll post it. What we're going to do is, the idea is to continue to uplift and raise awareness of our community. And so I'm going to keep posting these, especially on social media. They'll come out in little segments. And ultimately, I think I'll recompile the entire event on on one of my YouTube websites. So we will be able to find it. Follow us. We'll get the word out to where anybody else wants to find it, if for some reason you happen to miss this evening.
And the link for the donation, when does it end?
Oh, that ends actually there. That's a good question.
Uh-huh.
So, we're doing this to raise funds for the Rainbow Railroad, right? And so the idea was that, like, we want to keep this going after this evening. It's not just about this evening. It's about every day, each day, trying to raise awareness, trying to raise funds, trying to help the larger LGBT organization around the world, community around the world. So I'm going to keep this donation link open for an entire month. So it actually ends at the end of April. But pretend like it's the next 5 minutes. Hit your phones. Do it now, baby.
Do it now. Okay. All right. And then my last thing.
Okay.
I got to give you props, girl. You cleaned up real well. Got a little lipstick going. Okay.
All right. Tell everybody out there in the world what I look like about 5 minutes ago.
Sweats and some jeans. No makeup.
No makeup. I'm like in front of that our new little makeup mirror, just furiously going, "What do I have? What do I have? What's in my bag?"
Me too. I had rollers in my hair a few minutes ago. I was like, Nikki, check me, girl, check me.
Literally, Miss Duchess came running up to the stage and goes, "Davi, hold it." Turn around. No, you look fine. You look fine. Anyway, you look fabulous. So for those of you out there, I will be popping in probably again at the very end, because we are coming to you live from the ATD Studio A right here in the Boogie Down Bronx. Booyah. And but this is also the place where I work. It's also the entire production is happening out of here. So we I need to go, like, help with the board and help with the graphics and do, any number of things. So we are going to turn this entire shindig over to the glorious, the fabulous, the iconic, the legendary, the one and only Miss Duchess Davi.
Thank you. You're too kind, honey.
So what's the next thing? Are we introducing somebody?
I believe it's the Rainbow Railroad video.
Oh, that's right. So for those of you who may not be familiar with the work of the Rainbow Railroad, they do help save lives around the world by actually identifying high-risk LGBT individuals, going into these countries and these different spaces and actually getting them to safety. This is real work. It's something very vital that we need while these inequities exist around the world towards the larger LGBTQI community. So I figured the best way to do it is to go right to the Rainbow Railroad themselves and play some of their content. So without any further ado, Maestro.
I want you to imagine facing death threats because of who you love.
I want you to imagine being fired from your job.
Being forced to have corrective sex.
Seeing your home burned to the ground.
Being disowned by your family, your community.
Being tortured,
Beaten.
Stabbed.
And interrogated.
All because of who you love.
I want you to imagine this is all happening to you because
you live in one of over 70 countries where your government not only tolerates but supports and initiates this violence towards you.
And in some cases,
you might even face the death penalty.
All for loving who you love.
You don't have to imagine it because it is happening.
In Egypt,
Jamaica,
Uganda,
Chechnya,
Iran,
Nigeria,
Indonesia,
and too many other countries.
And now I want you to imagine a way out.
a route to safety, to dignity,
to a life where you can be who you are.
Love who you want to love, and the law is on your side.
I want you to imagine
That you have the power to help find this route to safety for someone in need.
Since 2006, Rainbow Railroad has helped over 300 LGBTQI people all over the world find a pathway to safety by providing direct travel assistance.
We are a one-of-a-kind international organization focused on emergency travel support.
Unfortunately, the list of people in need of assistance is long.
and persecution persists.
So, we need your help.
Imagine the lives we can change with your support.
Alrighty, we're back with the show. That was a really cool video. I hadn't heard much about the Rainbow Railroad until a few months ago when Nikki told me about it. So when she asked me to be a part of this, I was like, yes, I've got to do it. So for our next set, we'll be interviewing two fabulous people. I have Miss Nikki Horton.
Good evening. How are you, Miss Duchess?
Good evening, Nikki. And I have Mrs. Dylan Mars Greenberg. How are you doing, Miss?
I'm all right. Thank you.
And you know what? So I just noticed how I kind of messed up a little bit on the pronouns, and I want to take a moment to talk about that. I know for some people it can be hard to know what pronoun do I use and do I mess up, and you get kind of nervous about it. But you know what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I guess you just move past it and it's fine.
Yeah, and I think what it is people we just want a genuine, response. To try the effort. That's all we're looking for. And if you mess up, no biggie. You just correct yourself and keep on moving. Alrighty. So for some questions, I would like to know for both of you, for your performances, what's the inspiration behind your work?
Personally, the inspiration is all the great artists that came before me. That's all. That these are always a part of us, and I'm just trying to transmit their legacy in my own particular way, with my own vision, and trying to incorporate new techniques and everything, and new concepts in the music. What inspires me is the past and the stories. I like my music to be somewhat of a picture, like more of an incitation to mind traveling and like reverie and things like that. So
I like the way that sounds. You're transporting your guest.
That's it. I'm trying to just grasp them and transport them into their own imagination and discover whatever is in there.
Ooh, I like the way that sounds. Okay. And Ms. Dylan, same question. What's some of the inspiration behind some of your beautiful music?
Well, I'm going to be performing with my band Theophobia, which consists of myself and the co-founder and guitarist and co-lead vocalist Matt Allen. And we're both really big fans of Sparks and Meatloaf, which are two very different acts that both came out around the 70s and 80s. And so I'd say that we both kind of are really into very melodic and theatrical performances, which you will shortly see. That's the inspiration. Very theatrical, very bah, very bah, right? Very wah.
It's rather powerful, yes.
Right?
I do like a theatrical performance and theatrical look.
They're like bow. Yeah. You're very like, ow!
Oh, well, we're in for a treat, I'm sure.
Or you could say we're in for a treat.
There we go. All right, Ms. Nikki, back to you.
Yes.
So my next question, what were some of the most challenging things about your transition, and how were you able to overcome some of those things?
Well, there are several things, that can come and like be obstacles to a transition. Personally, for me, it was, first of all, the environment that was like, pretty hostile, where I was living, even though they really accepted me as queer non-binary. Each time I alluded the fact that I kind of wanted to move on into transitioning a little more, I encountered a lot of walls and a lot of phobia, and it was just hard for me to get confidence to a point where also, at one point, you start losing one thing after another and an apartment, and then you depend on like shady people to just like move on, and it's like not easy for everybody. And at that point, people can people can fall in any trap that life, has to offer, because there are many nowadays.
All right. Well, I love that you were able to overcome some of those obstacles and be here with us today. Looking fabulous as ever.
Thank you so much. Made it happen a day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a matter of like, also there again, trusting yourself and being honest and true to yourself, and just, digging in deep into your inner power, and like just looking into yourself and just trying to realize what works best for you, and what, stop the lies and everything.
You know what, Nikki? I love that part right there, because it's just that little thing of being true to yourself and who you are, that little step, you're really inspiring other people. You may not realize it, but they may see you down the street and walking down the street, and they're like, that person's even their authentic stuff. Like, I want to do the same thing. So it's a really inspiring thing. All right. And Dylan, let's share your experience with us.
Could you repeat the question?
Of course. So what were some of the most challenging things you had faced during your transition, and how did you work to overcome them?
People were very mean to me and would yell at me, and then I think gradually I gained confidence with the power of art and music, and I do think that initially I was very afraid of what God would think, which I think plays into my band's name, Theophobia. And I think that's something that both my guitarist and I relate to, is the fear of God. I think sometimes we both, just anything that we regard as a mistake that we're making, we, I think, get nervous and we're like, oh my God, like, am I going to hell? Like, is God sending me to hell? We're both Jewish, and I think we're nervous, Hashem is going to strike us down. But, have I overcome them in, one fell swoop? No, I think it's an ongoing battle. I think is you're battling yourself as well as the world.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? That really resonates with me, because I had that same experience growing up. My mom was very religious, and I was like, okay, I can't be my true self. And I remember reading a book one day, and it just said something about, let's get a little church on you. It said, welcome. It said, God accepts you for who you are. And for everyone, you may not, whoever you believe in, you're accepted for who you are. And when I read that, it was like a light switch immediately. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be me.
Yeah. Because, God, it's like God's not going to strike you down like, psh.
All right, guys. So how can our viewers watching, how can they find you?
So I have my website. That is www.nickihortonmusic.com. Pretty easy. I got the same thing on any social media. Would it be Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube? It's Nikki Horton Music. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Go out and check it out. Be my guest. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, and Ms. Dylan?
I'd recommend that any viewers go on Instagram and also just search for Theophobia. That's our band name. And if you want to find the music that we currently have out, you can go on theophobia.bandcamp.com. And then on Facebook, we're also just Theophobia. Pretty much everything is just Theophobia.
All right. And then for my next question, and it's a serious one. Did you guys remember to donate? Because I heard that Nikki is going to lock us in here until we make our go. So go ahead and donate, guys. If you have not donated at home,
Yes.
hit
Y'all
the
have
link
to
above
donate
and help
and
us
help.
on out. Help us get out of here tonight. All righty, guys.
What's the best nation? Donation.
That's it.
All right. And then for our next thing, I believe we have a video or interview. Intro to Tony Dobek. All righty. Let's take.
So, hello to everybody out there. I am joined right now by the most amazing performer, Tony Dobek. If you haven't followed him, go out, follow his music, follow his Instagram feed, listen and promote. He's extremely talented. So, Tony, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am living my dream.
Excellent.
I got a question. Where do you? Why don't you tell me about yourself? You know, where do you live and your pronouns?
Yeah. So I use he/him pronouns. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is still cold here, but there is no more snow, so I am thankful for that. I really, really love it here. It's a weird city with weird people, but I love it. I love all of its like quirkiness, and it's there's a lot of art here. There's not a lot of resources here though, so you have the city full of artists who have too many day jobs, and I think what I love about Milwaukee is the fact that there are so many people who just get it. They understand what's going on. And like when you finally do have the chance to come together and collaborate on things, you make it count, which is really cool. But there's so many fantastic musicians and artists here. I love when we're able to. I love going out to the shows to see all of this stuff because the energy that comes off of these artists who I'm always surprised how much energy they have just from how much they're doing just to like get by day to day. Like the energy and the passion that they have for their art is just really inspiring. And so I as frustrating as Milwaukee as a city can be, and as Wisconsin as a state can be, like the community here is just really, really fantastic.
So I want to do. Actually, to talk about, pull it back towards gender thing.
Yeah.
Transitioning. What can you say positively about transitioning, or how has transitioning affected your life in a positive way?
Yeah, so I was very lucky where, like, my mom struggled really, really hard for a little while. We didn't talk for about it. I mean, it's not like we were estranged, but we didn't really talk regularly. I was at college. We didn't really call or talk on the phone much for about a year. She took it really hard. I was the only daughter. And my dad took it hard, but my dad is the kind of person who, like, doesn't show how hard something is on him, especially to his kids. And so I was very lucky in the fact that, like, my family ultimately, like, after an adjustment period, they all are really supportive. My grandmother, even, who is 88 years old, is, like, proud to call me her grandson, and she loves when I sing. And it's funny because when I was growing up, she was always singing, and she always wanted me to sing Sound of Music and Fiddler on the Roof songs to her, and to this day I cannot with either of those musicals. I swear to God, those movies got longer every time we watched them.
Oh, but they're wonderful.
VHSs.
They're wonderful. There's an intermission in one of them.
Yeah, but yeah, as wonderful as those musicals are, they were beaten to death by
everyone.
You
ever hear the joke? How many jazz singers does it take to sing My Funny Valentine?
Oh.
Apparently, all of them.
This is true. That also feeling good.
Oh yeah. How many blues singers? I think every one of them. Anyway, musician jokes.
Yeah, I was really lucky that like my family was very supportive, and I feel so at home in my body now. I struggled really bad. I had really bad dysphoria. I had crippling dysphoria when I was in college. I actually don't remember a lot of my like junior and senior years of college because I had nightly panic attacks.
Really?
Yeah, it was nightly, and I because of that, like I have really foggy memories of certain patches of my time. My cat is joining us. This is Berkeley.
Hey, Barkley, not Berkeley.
Berkeley, yep, Berkeley. He is such a sass. But I had this just awful panic attacks. It really affected my sex life as well because I my first sexual experiences were in college, and I didn't really understand what was happening at this point. This was before that I knew that trans men existed. I knew vaguely that trans women existed, but I didn't really know anything about the trans experience. At this point, I was like, well, I'm going to grow up to be a butch lesbian. Like, that's how that works. And
I so know it from the other side.
Yeah.
Who knew? Like, this is an option?
What? Why didn't anybody tell me this?
I can trade one in?
Yeah, right? But even, like, my like, orgasming for the beginning of my sexually active life was simultaneously panic attacks a lot of the time. Anytime that I was intimate with a partner, we were running the very high risk that the night would end with a really bad panic attack. And those were some of the worst ones. And I was very lucky that while those were happening, I had a partner who we didn't work out very well romantically, but we are really fantastic friends to this day. And they instinctively knew how to help me, and neither of us can explain how they knew what to do because panic attacks were very foreign to them. But I experienced that for a long time. I was lucky enough to have top surgery kind of early on in my transition. And that, was the start of healing for me. But I was in I had undiagnosed bipolar and undiagnosed ADD. I was struggling to get finished with college. I was freaking out about the future. I was ignoring some like alcohol and substance dependencies. And I got to Milwaukee, and I'm finding, all of my friends are older than me at this point. I came into Milwaukee and was brought into the Milltown Kings, which was the longest running drag king troupe in the country.
Yeah. I've heard of this. Yeah. I've heard of them. Yeah.
It has been retired. Most folks had to pass, and we have let it. We have laid it to rest.
It lived its time.
Yep. Everything is temporary. There may be a big family reunion that comes up at some point. But I was brought in, and the people that I was hanging out with, they were all older than me. They were, in their early to mid 30s, are now in their late 30s, early 40s. And I'm this like 25-year-old kid who's like, they're all just like, here, let us, don't step on that stair. That's a trick step. Don't step up. And I was really lucky to have these folks who were supporting me and helping me know what navigating the world as a queer adult looked like. Because at this point, when you first come out as trans or queer, you're at the beginning of that coming out, everything is your queerness.
Right. So I got a question though. Okay, so do you identify, because I think you will agree, and right, or agree with me in this, that there's okay, our gender issue is different than queer, right? Queer culture is different than straight culture. I feel like I'm not really part of the queer culture. A lot of my friends, support it, like, 9 Ways from Sunday, but like that's not me. Like if you look around my apartment, I'm very like no, I'm not really queer. I support it, but it's really I don't think it's me, right? So do you feel queer or do you feel just manly?
So for me, I'm really particular in how I identify. I identify really specifically as a trans man. And I identify that way because my experience is very different from my brother's. And my brother's a cis man. My experience is living as a woman for 20 years. My experience is, that, and that shaped my perception of my gender, and it shaped my worldview very differently. But I also am just very proud of my transness because it taught me so much.
But that's different. I think that's here's another case about like on Sunday, I'm doing a photo shoot, right?
Yeah.
And this is, can you bring pink? I was like, I don't own pink. I've got black. I've got like fire red. Mama's not Barbie. In talking to you, like and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, and I probably shouldn't at all paint this away, but I feel that your transness, right, is its own entity, and it's grounded in with some gravitas,
Yeah, and for me, I think sometimes transness is. For me, it is a little bit wrapped up in queerness because I'm also a queer trans man. I'm attracted to multiple genders. So I'm also my social group. I have very few straight friends. Most of my friends are queer or genderqueer or trans or non-binary, and I think that comes partially with like.
You're in.
Yeah. What was that?
I was like. It's probably your environment. It shapes a lot of that.
Very much the environment, and so like I think in my group of friends in my community, it's very much like the gender and the queerness kind of all play together because most of us are in one way or another gender alternative, if you will.
Agreed.
Most of my friends are, we have a significant amount of trans folks that are in there, but a lot of my friends are genderqueer or non-binary. And so gender kind of gets played around with as much as, our ideas of our sexuality will get played with because it's both are so fluid. And I've watched this happen with so many people. So for me, yes, they are distinct. They are very distinct things. Transness has to do with gender and like queerness has to do with sexuality.
Lifestyle.
But I see them as siblings, as kind of part of the same family, if you will. But it's also, I know trans folks and I know LGBT folks who also have a similar experience to you where, I'm gay or yes, I'm trans, but like that's not, I'm not necessarily entrenched in the culture or like my social life or whatever, what have you, isn't as entrenched in the culture. Whereas for me, I think part of it is having an activist background. I think part of it might just be that millennials were all real queer. But I think it's a combination. And I think I've noticed, everyone views transness, gender, queerness, sexuality, everyone views it really differently. And so whenever someone has asked me, how do I know how to identify someone, or how do I know like what are the right things to say or what are the wrong things? Anytime a straight cis person is kind of basically asking like, how do I queer?
Yeah, help. How do I speak your language?
I always say, when you meet someone who is trans, non-binary, queer, any of those things, any gender or sexual identity that is marginalized, just ask them.
Actually, I want to talk about your music. I want to like head to the end. So first off, I want to thank you for taking the time to do this and to share your story. I think you know, you're amazingly talented and you have such a wonderful viewpoint and you're so eloquent about it. And I think you're just a great person to begin with, but also like a great ambassador for our community, right?
I appreciate that.
And so, again, if you out there and you have not heard of Mr. Dobek's music, please follow him. I'll post up where to follow. One of his older songs was Keep Up, Shut Up, which is like dark and orchestral. Would I put it down? Anthemic, feels like a film score, which is amazing that you said that. It feels very urgent. Sadly, it ends too soon, at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it's done. I was like, interrupt us. But your new album is about to come out, right? Mind Over Matter. Which I'm going to play right after this. Why don't you, if you could tell me like in a minute, a little bit about the album, like when it's coming out and whatnot.
Yeah, so Mind Over Matter comes out on March 21st. So I think as of this, it will already be out.
Yes.
So the piece, the album is named after the big piece that's on it, which is a 4-movement piece for 3 pianos and strings, and that is the depiction of what it is like for me to experience living with bipolar 2.
Mm-hmm.
The other pieces are 4 pieces that are dedicated to 4 really important people in my life. Both my parents have a piece dedicated on there. My grandmother has a piece that I dedicated to her on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend Torin, who was my partner, who was getting me through those really nasty panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
The final piece, or that piece then is dedicated to them. So it's really, really personal album, and I'm very excited to share it with everybody. The pieces kind of span a rather large chunk of time over my compositional career, but I'm very excited to finally get a chance to share it with everybody.
Well, I'm very excited that we're going to be able to. I mean, it'll already be out there in the world, but for our little shindig, our little show, our little kiki. We're going to be playing Mind Over Matter Movement 4, right? That's when you sent me. And I wrote down, after listening to it, it is a delicious, tasty, joyous. I haven't heard something like this in a while. Reminds me of a sunny Sunday afternoon, but there's always a hint of melancholy spread throughout.
I'm really glad you enjoy that, and I love hearing people's reaction to what I'm writing. I love that. It's very much, I've always been a believer in once art has left the hands of the creator, it is in the ears,
right,
if you will, of holders. So I love hearing what people's reactions to it, and especially if they're different from mine. I love it.
Well, it's lovely, and I can't wait for everybody else to hear. So without any further ado, here we go. Mind Over Matter, Movement 4 by Tony Dobek.
All right, everybody. That was Tony Dobek. Give it up, Tony. That was amazing. It was both peaceful and relaxing. But now it's time to turn up the energy. So let's show some love for my girl, Nikki Horton, on the guitar. Give it up.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Give me some minute. All right.
Let's go.
Okay. Yes.
Louder, everything louder. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was electric. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. That was Nikki Horton on the guitar. Woo! Yes. So, for our next performer, he goes by one name. I think it should be sexy, but he prefers just Bennett.
So let's go ahead and let's start. So hello, everybody. Welcome to another little segment on this TDOV podcast. And I'm joined right now by Bennett.
Yes.
And so Bennett, why don't you go ahead and tell me who you are, where you live, what are your pronouns?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Bennett. I'm originally from New York City. I was raised in New York City. I spent majority of my life there, fantastic, into my early 20s. And then my parents decided to retire, and they wanted to move out of the city. Things started getting expensive. And we moved up to Connecticut. So now I'm in Bethel, Connecticut, which is right in the Danbury area. So not too far from the city. I identify as a man. I'm transgender, trans man, and my pronouns are he, him, and his.
He, him, and his. So how is it out there in Bethel? I mean, I'm going to jump my questions around. What is the community like out there in the Bethel, Connecticut, Danbury area? What's it like for you? Where's your community? You were saying that you actually don't have community up in Bethel. That there's really there's no outlet for you. So or for way for you to find a support system.
Yeah, so it's like, so there's a bunch of surrounding towns, and I don't want. There's no cities. Like it's Connecticut. There's no cities, but there's this place called the Triangle Center. It's down in Norwich. Like I see a therapist every couple of weeks just to maintain mental stability, and she's always trying to get me to. You should go try and meet some people, and like I really should. Like I really should, but like I'm a musician and I do everything at home, and like I release music every week, so it's very time consuming. But I do have a lot of like gay and lesbian friends down in the city, so obviously now we have the pandemic, so things are kind of shut down. But before, like I was going into the city and meeting people and hanging out and stuff. But yeah, no, like I'm a city kid at heart, so that's pretty where my life is. Yeah.
If it's in your blood, that's it. Like,
yeah. There's no changing that. Yeah.
Like I was saying, like I left and then I came back, and when I came back, I was like, why did I ever leave? Like this. And then of course I find like I'm in the South Bronx, like Port Morris. Could not be more old New York, like industrial warehouse, graffiti everywhere.
No, it's true. Yeah, my mom is from the Bronx. She was raised right by Yankee Stadium. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so I know the Bronx pretty well, actually. That's why I asked where in the Bronx, because
well, honey, you gotta come like stay at the House of Jax sometime. The next time you want to
absolutely, I would totally love to.
Hey, I had the COVID, so I can't get it. I can't give it. Feel free to come on down. Bring your
That's what I'm talking about. Got those antibodies.
Ain't nothing gonna kill me.
That's right.
So
I like that attitude.
Thank you. Do you, so this is interesting. So do you identify, and this is something I've been tossing about. Do you identify or feel like, I know we feel a kinship with the gays, lesbians, with everybody else in the alphabet, right?
Absolutely.
But do you feel that they can relate to you, or you can relate to them, that their story is similar enough so that you actually have that support?
Absolutely. I think that, I have the friends that I still have are childhood friends. So they've known me since I was like the end of elementary school going into middle school. And I started binding at 12 years old. I didn't know, like, I started binding with, what was it? With an ace bandage. So it wasn't, it was rough. Like my chest was something I never, not to get off topic, but my chest was never something that I identified with. It was like, it was the worst. Before I even realized that I was transgender, that I felt masculine, any of that, like I always knew that that was not something that I was connecting with. But yes, anyway, to get back on topic. So I think that and a lot of those friends are gay and and I identify as in terms of sexuality as lesbian and gay. So I think that there's some relatability. I mean, I live majority of my life as a lesbian, as a very masculine lesbian. So I think there's that connection, but I think in terms of like the psychological aspect of saying, okay, like I was born in this physical body, but I don't connect with it. Like there's nothing here that I can say, like, I don't want to say like, but I don't know any other way to say it, that like I like about my physical self. And then I think that is where the connection kind of gets hard to relate with. But I think for the most part, like I have a good close-knit group of people that understand, which I think is important, rather than can say, okay, like I can relate to this. If you can at least understand somebody and say, wow, okay, like this is what he feels, and I can psychologically process that to the point where I think understanding is where it's at. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. I 100%.
Okay.
A lot of us in my little Kiki, we we talk about like how interesting it is. Like we can go to like an LGBT bar, right? We can go to like a gay bar, and sometimes there's some direct animosity, but and even though we are, by and large, accepted, it's not understood, right? We have a completely different narrative than the gays. Or if we go to we usually don't go to lesbian bars for some reason. Ex-friends don't like us, and I don't know why.
I don't know what it is. I don't mean to cut you off, but since I transitioned, it's rare that one, I go out, and two, I almost prefer going to gay bars. Like, I identify in personal sexuality, I guess I would identify as straight. Like, I like women, you know what I'm saying? But I almost feel closer with gay men, or more comfortable with gay men or trans women than I do lesbians. I don't know what it is, but it's just something that I noticed.
So I think you already kind of talked about like how your path to your identity. You said you were binding at the age of 12, so it seems to me like you always knew that there was something wrong, that you had this dysphoria, the dysmorphia that you were contending with.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was the star player of the girls basketball team, and and that's really what it was. Is like the sports bra. I couldn't. Oh God, it was the worst having to wear a bra in general, but having to play sports, and then I would sweat, and like I didn't have, like, not to get too TMI, but I didn't have a small chest. Like, I had a nice sized chest. So, and like I said, I was a star basketball player, and I came out as a lesbian at a very young age, and yeah.
Oh man. So you're 26. So now you're a functioning adult, right?
That's right.
So, but I think probably your real identity is as a musician, right? As a performer, so in what ways has your transition informed your work life, your music, like where are you, where does that position yourself?
Absolutely. So just to go back a few years, so before I transitioned, I started out with music as a Justin Bieber impersonator. I would travel. Yeah. And the thing was it was amazing. Yep, now you see it. I say it and now you see it. Yep. It's it was really amazing. I was still living as a female at the time, and that was right around the time that I started to feel these things. And it honestly, I had to live as him. So like in the mornings I would have to wake up, I would bind, I would have to put on the clothes, the whole facade, and like even if I went out to the store, I had to be Justin Bieber. So I was literally living as like I was signed to an entertainment agency. I was getting paid, so like it was like a real deal. I was contracted and everything. I would travel the country doing different performances and whatever. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, that is. Oh my God! You just like.
That's what's up. I like to hear that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and like it really gave me life into like what it would be like to live as a male, not just like as a famous pop star, but as a man, because that's what I had to present myself as. And so so now we come to today. Right now I'm this proud to be trans man. I'm out. I actually I would post like things here and there, but I didn't officially come out and say I'm transgender till like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I started a docu-series called Being Bennett, where I really wanted to be like, I have a mentor. His name's Clinton Sparks. He's Grammy nominated. He's absolutely phenomenal. And I was reading his book, and like, it was just one of those things where he was like, you need to find your niche. You need to find your people. Like, who is going to relate to you? And it sparked something in me. And I was like, holy shit. Oh, excuse me. I was like, he's right. Like, I need to like do this. I need to like find my people. And it's not, yes, I want to connect with everybody. I want to be in, just relatable to everybody. But my community is the transgender LGBTQ community. And I need to be honest with myself and with everybody if I really want to make this work. So I was like, all right, I need to put my big boy panties on, and my dad actually gave me a lot of courage to put this docu-series out, and I did it. And part 2 goes into my transition, my mental health struggles with depression and suicide and just things that I dealt with growing up. And it was really my coming out and saying I'm transgender, love me or hate me, but this is who I am. And like I said, like I would post like little things here and there. Like I had top surgery back in, I want to say 2017, and like I'll post like different progress photos, excuse me, but it wasn't like, you would never hear me use the word transgender. And I don't know if maybe I wasn't fully comfortable, but or what it was. Like I said, I live in Bethel, Connecticut right now, and it's much different than growing up in the city. I think if I still lived in the city, I'd be walking around with my shirt off everywhere, like, just out and about. But I was frightened. I was scared. And I, like I said, I just had one day where I was like, if I'm really going to make it in this business, what I'm currently doing is not working. And so, yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago, I think. It was like the second week in March, I think.
Well, I am so honored to be speaking in this fashion.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet.
No, just, gosh, it's like it's like your new birthday, March, 2 weeks ago. March 4th or whatever it was,
Yeah.
Listen, the transition and making that moment, like where you tell them, okay, I am this, right? This is me. I'm putting this label on.
Absolutely.
It's a big thing. Like I reckon I realize that. I came out to my daughter and she was like, I thought you were just gay. My daughter has the same sense of humor as me.
Oh, that's wonderful, though.
And I love her to death. She's the world to me.
That's wonderful.
So, wow, that's so huge. And so,
thank you. Yeah, and I hit sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. And that was the thing. Like I hit 4 years on testosterone. This coming April 12th.
How do you be 4 years on T?
Yes.
And not like say, oh, hey people, I might be, trans.
Yeah, that exactly. That was the thing, and I was like, shit, let's do this. So yeah, and I've received nothing but love. Good. I just want to put that out there. Nobody's been cruel or mean. I've made a lot of friends, and it's been wonderful. I'm almost sad that I waited so long.
All right, so actually this is great. So now that you have come out, you have let the world know 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That you are trans. You're a proud trans man.
That's right.
What could you say? It ain't been that long, but what could you say has been a positive, since that point? What weights lifted off your back? Everybody knows. Everybody's been okay. We know already.
100%. I felt like I was hiding the biggest thing about me, and it was like. Like I said, I would post things here and there, and occasionally I would throw the word transgender, but I didn't have the following, for example, on Instagram that I do now. It was a couple hundred friends or whatever. So it was people who basically knew, and I'm up to, I think 12,000 followers, and I was like, I would rather tell people than people find out. Right. It was my mindset as well. But yeah, I think the most positive thing was besides just getting that weight off my shoulders, because that was definitely weighing on my mind every day. 100%. It was a lot. I've met some really amazing people. I think even including yourself, just getting to know you this, right now, and speaking to you in a couple messages, you were so kind, and everything that I thought was going to happen didn't. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but I was when I tell you I was terrified, I went 4 years transition without really saying a word to anybody. Everybody's been amazing. I've made some I have a song coming out in a couple weeks, and my friend Eli, he's a transgender man as well. I met him once I came out. He did my album cover, so we now text every day. So like I've met some like really amazing people, and I think that that's the most positive is I'm finding my community. There you go.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
So my goodness, we've been chatting for.
I know. I'm sorry. I can go on and on.
No, this is amazing. Like I want to know more. Right? It's always. So, and I might cut this part out. Did you have a song that you wanted to play, or did you want to send me like a pre-existing track that I could include right after this? Okay, so I can say, like, ladies and gentlemen, I am Bennett Music.
Yeah, so I have a couple things that I do live streaming 4 nights a week. So I have saved performances. I can just pick one. I'll clip a song and then I'll send it your way.
Okay, so let me go try this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hopefully we know you're still watching. This is amazing. If you want to find Bennett, where can people find you?
Absolutely. So first thing is my website. I'm bennettmusic.com. Or you can go to my Instagram, which is really where you can see everything. It's I'm Bennett Music. All my social media is the same handle. I'm Bennett Music. Like to keep it cohesive. Or YouTube. YouTube is where my docuseries is, where you can really learn deep about who I am and my struggles and my growing as a person. And that is, I think it's like youtube.com/Bennett Music. That's the only thing that's different. Not I'm Bennett. Yeah.
You know what? You're going to send me the link, and I'll make sure I post it. I do a little picture in the,
okay, great.
So people can see. I would love to see, because I want to watch it too. I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
I become fascinated with people's transition stories. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. And so that's it. And so you're going to send me some music, and we're going to play that. So,
absolutely,
ladies and gentlemen, Bennett.
Your heart in a safe, no worries ever needed. It's Bennett. Let's get it. Your heart in a safe, no worries ever needed. Enemies at bay, but the water's rough and steep. Past you've had some broken hearts, worries never needed. Got you in a safe place next to me. Danger stays lingering, don't know what's ahead. Your kiss I've been waiting on, repeating in my head. The last time so long ago, laying in my bed, but I gave it up to save you instead. Yeah, but hit me up where I'm needed, I'll be there in a minute. I'm the best of me when I'm here with you, my hope's completed. Your soul, I say shit, and it's your love I believe in. Give meaning to my love, cause it's true, yeah. I'm on it faster than Daytona with 500. I'll be pushing, taking chances with romances. Both safeguarded, keep it moving. Got pressures in your way, no chance they can stand it. Moving mountains just to keep you on this planet, yeah. I'll fight your demons when you need it, baby. No, you're not alone. Taking chances, new romancing. Both safeguarded, hit my phone. Got pressures in your way, no chance they can stand it. Moving mountains just to keep you on this planet. Hey, hey. Your heart is safe, no worries ever needed. Enemies at bay, but the water's rough and deep. Past you've had some broken hearts, worries never needed. Got you in the same place next to me. Ayo, 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 hey, ayo, ayo, yeah, yeah. Got you in the same place next to me. The world's got their heroes, and baby, you're mine. On your side like the Secret Service, waiting for the time. You're part of my being, one I can't deny. If you're down for it, I wanna tell you why. You brighten my day, as bright as the sun. You make me feel feelings. I'm more than just fun. Bring meaning when I need it. Well, no doubt in mine, you are the one. It's more than my heart could bear to beat. So I'll fight your demons when you need it, baby. No, you're not alone. Taking chances, new romancing, both safeguarded. Hit my phone. Got pressures in your way. No chance they can stand it. Moving mountains just to keep you on this planet. Yeah, I'm on it faster than Daytona with 500. I'll be pushing, taking chances, new romancing, both safeguarded. Keep it moving. Got pressures in your way. No chance they can stand it. Moving mountains just to keep you on this planet. Hey, hey. Your heart is safe, no worries ever needed. Enemies at bay, but the water's what you seek. Past you had some broken hearts, worries never needed. Got you in a safe place next to me. Ayo, 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 ayo. Hey, yeah, yeah. Got you in a safe place next to me. Ayo, ayo. Yeah. Hey.
I have one word for that voice. Oh. All right. So I'd like to welcome our next guest, Mr. Ashton Geese of the Rainbow Railroad. How are you, Ashton?
I'm doing great. This is amazing.
Welcome to our live stream today. So I know the Rainbow Railroad is based out of Canada, but a lot of us don't really know what you guys do, and I really like to, get a little more insight on that. So explain to me some of the fabulous things you guys are doing over there.
Well, it's really incredible. We are based in Canada, and we've been there since 2006. In Canada, they have this amazing belief that people can come from anywhere, and they were welcomed in their country. It's not like here right now, I feel like. And so in Canada, we've been able to bring people together, and volunteers just joined together in 2006, and they just brought people over. And the government of Canada allows you to do that. You could just get some money together and bring someone over. And so that's how we started in 2006. Really from Jamaica was where it started, because there's a ton of violence and, unfortunately, persecution of LGBTQ people there. And so in that over the last 15 years, we've actually brought 1,000 people to safety. It's really incredible.
That is really 1,000 people. Kudos to you guys. I love it. That's why those in donations are super important, because we want to help you guys continue to do that fabulous work you're doing. Okay. I love it. For my next question, what would you say is one of the best success stories you guys have had?
Yeah, absolutely. And we try to help people, in all kinds of different places around the world. But one of the things, and how I even got involved in the organization, is I heard about what happened in Chechnya. And we actually moved more than 60 people over the past few years from Chechnya. It's a terrible and really challenging problem. And I'm really, really happy to be here today with all of you, because the reality is the people that we've moved out of Chechnya, some of them actually now are realizing that they're transitioning. And so, this is just an incredible story of survival for many of these individuals. So that's really an incredible success that we've had. And out of crisis, we've been able to just save so many lives. But as I mentioned, we really did start with working in Jamaica. And so that's somewhere else where people, as I said, face so much persecution. So we moved them, really still many people from that country, but the Middle East and Africa also, where people even face the death penalty if they're LGBTQ. Just for being who they are, who they love, they face those challenges. And so they find us and we get them to safety.
That's very interesting. One of the countries you mentioned, Jamaica, and also the Middle East, I was interested to hear that. I remember, and I tell this story to people all the time, that I was watching a documentary about how it is for the individuals in Jamaica, and it's just crazy that in this day and age, you get kicked out of your homes and you end up living under a bridge, and people still bother you. And it's like, like, why do you care? I'm not signing your checks. Why do you care? So to continue on, I was so surprised because growing up, I heard one of these Jamaican songs. And it was like the song that everybody knew. And then when I came to New York and I was talking to someone and they were telling me like actually what they were saying in the song. And I was like, that's what they're saying? I was like, that's how it is for people over. I was that blew my mind. So I'm overwhelmed that it's an organization like you guys are just really giving back to and helping people get out of those situations, because it's just crazy in this day and age, just things like that happen. All right. So for my next question, I'm curious to know, now I know you can't give all your secrets away, but what are some of the steps that you have to take to relocate someone?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really it can be challenging, especially in these countries in Africa, but it all really depends on the passport that you hold. That's the ticket that you have in life to where you can get to, and it depends on your country. So what we do is we enable people to reach out to us, and we have a website. If you do know somebody in trouble, you can always send them to rainbowrailroad.org/get-help. That's the best way to get help and find someone safety. But the way that we work is, we can't say everything about it. This is very challenging and difficult work, but we like to say we're the ambulance of the world. We're moving people to the country that will accept them. And that is usually, to be honest, in Europe or the Americas. And of course, Canada is a destination as well. But we're finding out what's on your passport and figuring out what countries will let you in if we need to move you. But we also do, especially during these times of COVID, we've helped a lot of people who have to be, who can't move because borders are closed. And so we've helped people with their mental health. We've helped them with medical supplies and medications. And we do a lot of different smaller things for thousands of individuals. So it is crazy. It's about 3,400 requests that we've had over the past year. And we help as many people as we can. And right now, why we need your help so much, and that $10,000 that our goal, that actually moves someone to safety. That's the average cost that it takes. So that's really important to remember. But right now, borders are reopening. So hopefully, this COVID is over. And so right now, we're helping many people who have been sheltering in place for a while to get to safety. So that's how you can help today, too.
That's right, guys. The link is above. Definitely donate. It is never too late. And no amount is too little, or,
Absolutely.
Every bit helps. Yes. And you couldn't have said it better myself. I want COVID to be over. I'm tired of wearing these masks, and I want to go back to wear my lipstick. So when Nikki invited me here, I was like, Nikki, I'm only going to do it if I can wear my lipstick. All right.
That's wonderful.
So, Ashton, what are your social media handles? How can people find you guys other than your website?
Yeah, a Rainbow Railroad. It's pretty easy on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find us there. Please share our message with others and share, of course, share this with other people too. And we just need more and more people to know about the story. And you're going to hear shortly a little bit more information about the details of what people face. So.
All right, you just heard it. Ashton's taking us right into our next clip. We have a fabulous Rainbow Railroad clip to show you guys. Enjoy.
Each year, Rainbow Railroad receives more than 1,000 requests for help from more than 70 countries where individuals' sexual orientation or gender identity is a crime. LGBTQI people from around the world who simply want the freedom to be themselves. Persecuted individuals with no place left to turn. These are just a few examples. From Syria.
Growing up in Syria has always been a struggle for me, since I recognized what my crushes on girls really meant. An Arab living in a Muslim country where the culture considers same-sex attraction a huge taboo. After years of depression and self-destruction, I learned to love myself the way I am. I'm a woman lover, and I hold pride in that. I wish I could have a normal chance to live simply. I hope you would contact me back. This would mean the world to me.
From Jamaica.
I'm gay and very girly. I'm writing with tears in my eyes. I'm so afraid to leave my house. Last weekend on my way home from work, I was so badly beaten by some boys in the community. My legs are still swollen, and the doctor said I have 2 broken ribs. The police were called, but no one was arrested. My mother told me I have to find somewhere to go because they're threatening that if they don't get rid of their Bati boy son, they're going to burn her house down. I don't know who else to turn to. I'm losing hope in life. I hope I get some help soon.
From Bangladesh.
Hello, I'm 20 years old from Bangladesh. I stopped my studies due to money problems, and then I came out to my family that I'm gay. They gave me a month to move my things. I don't have a job, and I don't have certificates to get a job. And being a Bangladeshi, it's a sin to be gay. I feel helpless. Please help me, or else I have to do suicide. I don't think being gay is bad, but no one wants to understand me and my feelings. I just don't feel safe in my country. Please help me get out.
Since 2006, Rainbow Railroad donors have helped to bring over 500 LGBTQI individuals to safety. We receive no government funding, relying on the generosity of people like you. Together, we can save 60 lives in 60 days.
Were you guys looking at me get dressed this morning?
That's right. That's right.
Trying to steal my look? All right, guys. So next we have our fabulous band. It is Dylan Mars Greenberg and Matt Ellen, known worldwide as Theophobia.
Oh, come on! Will everybody get crazy with it?
So I guess it's okay if I cross now too. See, I regret nothing when I'm with you. Hey, why won't you throw me a line? 'Cause I've got a question for you. Will you still love me when I'm through? Love me when my soul's no longer sentient. Will you love me when I'm dead? Will you love me when I'm buried underneath the ground? Well, oh, baby, baby, will you love me when I'm dead? I'm gonna lose control. I crossed the line when you told me you were fine. I said, are you okay? And you said, what did I just say? I turned to say you were right, but you had faded away. You left a note with a bouquet. And with the light forever luminous. Will you love me when I'm dead? And will you love me when my body is anonymous? Will you love me when I'm dead? Let's go! roll, rock and roll, baby. And was an aspiring actress, working in a cafe called Moy Aquario. She got a face tattoo of a social done down in the spokes of the barrio. And by the time she turned 20, she'd been hired to ghostwrite the autobiography of Frozen Rain. She went through so many insomniac boyfriends, and all of them surrendered to themselves just the same. So she said love isn't fun, and love isn't free, and no one in the universe will ever love me. I said, pain of ages, oh no. I can hear you, all wrapped in your linens, yeah, I know, pain of ages. So now she's sleeping in a hut in the country, working in a city built from steel guitar pride. And she is smoking a cigar on the old back porch, and all smiling and triple pride. Yeah, she gives way to no lovers, no it isn't for her, and she will never feel sorry for herself anymore. She just watches Evil Dead 2 on DVD and builds a small clay models of the earth in her core. She's into igneous rock, she likes 70 songs. Her friends all took care of her when she got chicken pox. I said, love of ages, oh yeah. I can hear you, all wrapped in your pillows, yeah, I know, love of ages, let's go! Love of ages. I can hear you. Running around without a Lord or Savior, preaching pills and modified behavior. There's a light or an answer somewhere slow. I slipped through the snow toward the fire I thought I'd forgotten. The fire died and now I feel rotten. Every piece to this puzzle is a due. I'm sick of working for dirt so you can take it, playing a flirt so I can make it, bearing my soul so you can get the truth. That was the loop. There's a rap at the window, there's a rail on the stairs. I wonder what I'd do without it. Would I follow? No, I doubt it. God was such a simple man. He knew that life was all too precious, but even he could not protect us from ourselves. Is it all a dream, this life that we perceive? Is it all a dream for this American life? Well, I'm a queen of swords in my dominion, in my call of law, my home's my kingdom. But my search for God has destroyed that hope. Oh, I will go in alone, and I will dance on golden paved highways for a chance that this day will be my day. And when that day comes, I will bear its fruits. I'm sick of working for dirt so you can take it, playing a flirt so I can make it, bearing my soul so you can get the truth. Oh, that was the loop. God had such a simple plan. Where's wasted our lives searching for meaning, when all this time the meanings help a fellow man. It's laid out in the sand, this life of guns and cans. Is it all a sham? I'm sick of working for dirt so you can take it, playing a flirt so I can make it, bearing my soul so you can get the truth. That was the loop, 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 the loop. Donate to the Rainbow Railroad, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Please donate. They're doing great work. Thank you to Nikki Jax for having us.
Wow, guys, those visuals, the new wave beat, the lyrics, I'm here for it all. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Matt Allen and Dylan Mars Greenberg of Theophobia.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. It's like we're on American Bandstand. It's like
I'm
Jerry
here
Lewis
for it all.
telethon.
I'm here for it all.
Professor on professor. We're both professors. The Nutty Professor. Jerry Lewis reference.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So next, we have an art video by a fabulous artist and a good friend of mine, Jake Alfieri.
How does one overcome illusion? Surely not by force or anger, nor by opposing them in any way. Merely by letting reason tell you they contradict reality. They go against what must be true. The opposition comes from them and not reality. Reality opposes nothing. What merely is needs no defense and offers none. Only illusion needs defense because of weakness. And how could it be difficult to walk the path of truth when only weakness interferes? You are the strong one in this seeming conflict, and you need no defense. Everything that needs defense you do not want, for anything that needs defense will weaken you.
Wow, that beautiful sculpture, Jake.
Thank you
That was
thank you very much,
something.
Miss Duchess. Thank you so much. It's one of my newest pieces.
I love the music in the background.
I picked that music specifically for that piece. Yes, it's a bit chilling, but that was the point.
Chilling, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And as I was watching the video, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I want to try to attempt to, follow the clues and like,
there's a bunch in there.
Well, my interpretation, I saw the gentleman in the white jacket going around and around.
Right.
And then the ladies around him. And I feel like from the outside looking in, you see just like a man surrounded by beautiful women and like, he's in heaven and like, he's lusting after them. But like, and what he's actually thinking is, I'm surrounded by all these beautiful women and I want to be them. Like, I want to wear what they're wearing, So, like, that was my take
from
on
your
it.
perspective, that I could see that coming from your perspective. Not at all what I was going for.
I was completely off.
But that's but I'm not an artist that you're meant to see what you see. All right. Yes, I have messages in there and there's a certain point that I'm trying to make, but it's also changes with the viewer, all right? And I welcome that. I welcome listening to what other people see in it. But the piece is very much about gender, which has been a new focus in my work.
Okay.
Since my transition, and I'm really happy with where it's going. First time I built a piece that has a moving part and sound as well. So
really,
yes,
good job.
Yes,
good
very,
job.
very happy with it. Very, very happy with it. But that was to represent a time in my life when, I don't know, growing up as a little girl, as it were, I had one of those jewelry box ballerina things. And, I came to realize that I was transgender very late in life. But as a young person, I knew something was wrong, and I had that little jewelry box ballerina thing, and I hated it. I didn't know why I hated it. I know why now I hate it. But something wasn't right with the thing. And I wasn't a violent child or an angry child, but I broke that thing into many millions of pieces as I smashed it against the wall in my room. And then I lied to my mother about what happened to it. But it was just, even back then, not knowing I was transgender, these gender roles that were meant to play, and that what I'm calling forced gender beliefs that were taught, and we're all victims. It's not an assignment of blame. All right, we've all had it. They're damaging though. I knew that wasn't me. I knew those ballerinas and that princess was not me. All right, but I was meant to identify with it. All right, because of our society.
You know what, Jake? I really that really resonates with me because as a child myself, my dad would always try to give me different things like basketballs and footballs, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
I don't know nothing about this.
As a baby, I was always told like, you're a beautiful girl. So my dad's giving me these basketballs. I'm like, you're making my downstairs neighbor happy.
Right. Exactly. But it's it's the society that we live in. Hopefully, we'll get to a point, where none of that matters. It won't matter, if you're a girl or a boy or a half girl, a half boy. It shouldn't make any difference.
Exactly.
We're beings, and that's what's the most important thing.
Who you are inside, I completely agree.
Exactly correct. Exactly correct. And that's that piece too. You're meant to look in the glass house, all right, and realize too, it's also about judgment and how we all want to believe that we don't judge other people, but we do, all right. And for me as well, learning how much I judge myself, and that's another thing that we all need to change because that negative energy is no good.
No bueno.
No good. No good. Nowhere. No how. No way.
Agree.
Exactly.
So I think you kind of touched on it already, but where do you find yourself drawing some of your inspiration from for your artwork?
Well, I get that question a lot, and my answer is everywhere, which sounds very broad stroke, but it's true. But more recently, my focus has been on spirituality, my spirituality, our spirituality as human beings. And my newest work is really all about that, and it talks about gender as well. In all my new work, and how I came to understand that I was transgender was through meditation. So, my message is to everyone to look inward because that's where you're going to find it. It's not out there. And once you find who your true self is, that's it. Everything else falls into place.
Stick to it. I like that idea. Stick to it. All righty. And then how was your journey during and after your transition?
My journey was great. I mean, I had supportive people all around me. The Callan Lords, which I don't know if you heard of them, they're an organization in Manhattan and in the Bronx, which they cater to all people, not just LGBTQ community.
Inclusive.
And totally inclusive, and they're true to that. All right, and it was a place where there was no judgment, and it was so easy. And as soon as I realized what I needed to be and where I needed to be, it was just straight ahead for me. And I had nothing but good experiences through my transition, and now afterwards. Transitioning changed my entire life. I see the world in a totally different way.
Oh, yes, that's very true. It'll do that for
great.
you.
And I know many people have not had that similar experience, and I feel for those people, but mine was fantastic.
That's good to hear. All right. So for my next question, I have to admit this is one of the things that I often think, and I don't know about you guys at home, but when you find yourself in a new place, is there ever a part of you that wonders how people perceive you?
Well, I think that happens to us no matter what. Okay, I think we're all, we're too hypersensitive to what people are thinking about us or seeing in us. That's also something I've realized through my journey with finding out about my spirituality, is that, we pay so much attention to that, the way we dress, the way we look, if we're saying the right things, if we're wearing the right clothes, all that type of thing. So I think that happens often with everyone. But yes, of course, once you transition and you feel, well, for me, when I was finally the person that I was really meant to be, yes, I feel like I see people seeing me the way they should see me. So it's very positive for me.
All right. And after you've met someone in that new space, how do they react to you?
Well, I have had nothing but positive reaction. If it's someone that never knew me, all right, they see me as just another man. There's never a question. With other people that knew me prior to my transition, I think it's always been very positive. People see that I'm happier, more comfortable in my own skin, more comfortable with who I am. So, it's for me, it's going to sound corny, but it's all been good.
I have to admit, too, when I ask that question, I kind of have myself in mind. Because when I'm traveling different places, whether it's upstate or to a different country, that's one of the things that I'm thinking, how are people receiving me?
Right.
And I've come to realize that, as long as you're being your true self, when you're being authentic, I've never had a problem. Even in the women's bathroom, I used to be kind of self-conscious, I can't really speak too loud.
Right.
And then I'll be in the bathroom and they'll be like, "Oh, I love your outfit." And I'll be like, "Thank you."
Because when you're comfortable with yourself, people around you feel comfortable. All right. So there really is, but I know we all, have those fears inside of us all the time. Everybody does. What are they thinking? Do I look good? Do I look bad? Am I fat? Am I skinny? Am I smart enough?
Yes. Don't compare yourself to others.
Yes, exactly.
Always remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. We all do it.
All right. And then, what are your social media handles? How can people find more about you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram. I don't do Facebook, sorry, folks. But
No Facebook.
I'm at J Alfieri, artist NYC on Instagram. And you can see my website, which is all brandly new, updated and everything. So please go, and you can see that video again as well. And that's www.jalfieri.com. That's me.
Perfect.
Look me up, follow.
Look them up, follow them, and purchase some of that great artwork.
Yeah. Yes, and don't forget to donate today.
Yes.
Absolutely. Get there. Get the money. We need it. These people are doing great work. They need help.
Speaking of money, Jake, Friday is my birthday.
Oh, baby. I'm going to be there.
Well,
it's going to be another House of Jax event.
A House of Jax event Saturday night.
Ooh.
So
be there.
So, on my behalf, what I would love.
What would you love?
And from all of you guys at home, what I love, it would mean a great deal of us if you donate to the cause. The link is above. That would be a great, amazing birthday present for me.
That's a great idea. Excellent. Do it.
Do it.
Don't do it for me. Do it for Duchess because.
All right, Mama Nikki. What's
Look
up
at her.
So next we have interviews. Mama Nikki interviews Lee Rose and Danny Gucci of the gorgeous House of Gucci.
Wow, you get to see Miss Jackson.
Hello. Welcome once again to this next little segment on the House of Jax presents TDOV 2021, and I'm joined here by two amazing local fixtures and icons, might I say. And I'll let you all tell your own story. So, tell you two. Want you to tell me your name and your pronouns, what your story is.
Okay,
I'll start with you.
So I'm gorgeous Danny Gucci.
Yes, you are.
I'm in the gorgeous House of Gucci. My pronouns are he and him.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a trans man activist and model.
Yes, you are. And you, my love?
I'm gorgeous Lee Rose Gucci. I'm in the House of Gorgeous Gucci as well. My pronouns are she and her. I am a teacher for the deaf. I teach deaf children with disabilities. I'm also a Zumba instructor. And yes.
You're obviously a she, her.
Yes.
We know your run. We know your category. So, what was your, let me just ask you a couple questions. So, what was your path towards understanding yourself as being transgender, different than your prior life?
I'd have to say definitely getting sober.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So before I got sober, I kind of always suppressed that I was trans. I was always embarrassed of it. I was always afraid to be myself.
So how did you identify beforehand?
As a lesbian. So I felt like I had one foot out of the closet.
Okay.
To somewhat adjust to society. But then as I got sober, I realized that I couldn't suppress this anymore, that I needed to be myself. Mm-hmm. So that is how I came out.
What's the differential for you? What was it, body dysmorphia? What was it that drove you to...
Everything.
Was it the clothes?
Everything.
Really?
It was everything. It was just identifying as a girl. It was trying to be a guy, but not identifying as a guy. Yeah. All of that.
But so interesting. You identified as male far before you decided to transition.
In my mind.
In your mind.
In my mind, I identified as male, but to the world, I identified as a woman, lesbian. Which I hated.
Really?
Yes.
So were you binding at a young age, or what was the...
Yeah, I was still binding. I was still suppressing my chest and stuff like that, but I was still identifying as a lesbian.
While binding?
Yeah.
Really?
So it was somewhat of a little hint. It was somewhat right. I was trying to come out, but I was still hiding it, but yeah.
Did you, at this time, were you in the ballroom community?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No. I wasn't any part of the ballroom community. I was more on the lesbian scene. I was a lesbian promoter.
Henrietta Hudson.
Cubby Hole.
Do you know Spice NYC?
Spice NYC.
Oh, my girl, Nikki.
Nikki
That's my
Hill,
girl. Yep.
Yes, Nikki Hill. I actually promoted a lot for.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Were you one of the nasty ones that always gave me the stank eye when I was on the peer pressure cruise and helping to produce events?
Not at all. I loved attending her parties. She throws amazing parties. So yeah. I've known her. She was. I was with her since I came out. So I met Nikki when I was a lesbian at 19, and then I promoted with her up until my transition.
And how long ago was that?
4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, since I got sober.
Wow, so that's amazing. As a matter of
yes.
So, you're not also from Jersey, are you? No, from New York.
I'm from here. Yeah, I'm from New York.
Boogie Down?
Yeah. No, Brooklyn. Like, originally from Brooklyn, raised in Queens.
You and all the other lesbians.
Yes.
You can have Brooklyn.
Yes.
So how has this, now that once you transitioned, what was like that moment like for you? Like coming to that realization?
It was beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like I was like had this weight lifted off my chest. It was just
literally.
Yes, literally. It just was so relieving. I felt like I could be myself. I felt like it was just like finally, like I could be who I'm supposed to be, and I came out to my partner.
You two had known each other prior.
We were together. We've been together 16 years.
Yes. So we've been together 16 years.
Mm-hmm. We're getting there.
We'll work on it.
Yes.
I feel like
that's amazing. Congratulations. I mean, a relationship that's 16 years long is amazing.
Yes.
So I'll ask you. I got 1,000 questions to ask you about. Right. But
I mean, it feels like we're basically married already.
Yeah.
We just got to tie the knot.
Listen.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the better.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's kind of like our...
you know what? That don't rock the boat, right?
Yeah.
I got you. Everything's cool. We got the place. We're eating. We still like each other. We still do things together.
Yes, exactly.
So you were, in the lesbian community, which is far different, right? Than than our community, and even myself. So I'm trans. I wasn't always this fabulous. But you're in the ballroom community, and that's actually a different community, really. Than I'm always around it, obviously, because of what I do, and I have lots of friends. We all know lots of the same people, but I never present myself as being part of that community because it's cultural appropriation. It's just not right for me, right? It's not my truth, right? So. How did you find the ballroom community? I mean, it's not like it's easy to find, to be honest.
It's not. So Leah and I had attended something where we saw Jack Mizrahi, and then we followed him.
Love you, Jack.
Yes. We followed Jack Mizrahi on Instagram, and then we got in touch with him, and he invited us to a ball, and then I told him I was transitioning. And then he called Lee Rose and I his Jersey Shore couple, and that he was starting a house, the gorgeous House of Gucci. So, yes, so we didn't really know a lot about the ballroom until we met him.
Okay.
And then we were introduced and inducted into the house. We're actually the first members of the gorgeous House of Gucci.
Oh my God, I did not know this.
Yes.
And Jack was just so amazing when we met him, so he just made us feel comfortable. Had he maybe went in a different direction and was like, we probably wouldn't be here today.
Oh my God, Jack is lovely.
Exactly.
He means his heart is so big and so warm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But he welcomed me into my transition and into the ballroom community, and he reassured me that being this way was okay and that they were going to appreciate me this way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was beautiful, and I love being in the ballroom. I love Jack, and I love my house. And for those of you who may not know, the ballroom community, if you don't know, just go watch Pose, right? Yes.
Or what's his other show? Fabulous.
Legendary?
Legendary. Go watch Legendary, right?
Yeah.
So, but in shorthand, it's a ball, but there's like categories, and basically different members of different houses, they compete with each other for trophies and prizes and accolades. And so every time you walk, they give it a theme, and that's called a category. So what category do you walk?
My category is trans man realness.
Really?
Yes.
So when you walk that category, right? Is there like an outfit you're supposed to wear? Do you do the top list?
No.
I mean, right?
It depends on what the category is calling for. So if it's Secret Service, then I have to come dressed as Secret Service as realness.
Right.
Yeah. Or what was the other category? I forgot.
Butch Queen?
No, I don't
Butch
want
Queen
Butch
Vogue?
Queen. No offense.
Do you dance?
I do not dance. I kind of just sway and back Louis Rose when she dances. So that's, yeah, I just look cool, like, swaying.
Yo,
I do this? Yeah, like I got a bad bitch, you know.
Yo.
Yeah, but, you know, it depends. It depends what the category is calling for and what you present yourself as. And for me, I look as real as I can be in that in that realness. So yeah, that's what it calls for.
What was it like for you to, like, I mean, given that you have no performance background, and they were like, okay, you're gonna walk, and you were like, hell no. Like, what are you, nuts?
Yes.
You were?
No, I mean, I was a little nervous, but I was like, I can do this. You know, I can represent my house the best that I can and myself and live in my truth.
Amazing.
So I feel like realness is really me because I am real, you know? Yeah.
You most certainly are real.
Yes.
You have to be real. That's your time.
Mhm.
Before your time. So beautiful. So one last question for you. I mean, feel free to talk later, but what has been really the most positive aspect of your transition? I mean, what you know, if you were talking to a child today that was possibly having a question about it or doubting their natal assignment, what would you say? Hey, listen, if you could decide to go this way, here's like the good stuff. What would you say?
I would tell them, no matter what happens, live in your truth. And as long as you love yourself, everything could be okay. Pay the world no mind.
If you ain't paying my rent, I ain't got no time.
Exactly.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yes.
Miss Lipstick Rose.
Yes.
So 16 years together. So okay, this is amazing. How many? So that means that you were together for like 11 years before he decided to transition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you know before? Do you think you knew before him?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, we say that all the time.
Based on what? Like why? Like
just based on, I mean, just certain things, like Danny always wanting to, you know, hide his chest, or like if it was that time of the month, he would become very upset, you know, just certain things, anything basically that was related to femininity, he absolutely hated. You know, and I mean, we know lesbians who are just, they kind of embrace different parts of their femininity. For Danny, it was like
nothing.
Hated. Yes. So I definitely knew.
Mm-hmm. So now, when you first met pre-transition Danny, obviously there's 11 years. You spent 11 years, so there was a whole nother aspect of his history and of his persona that you had to have been attracted to, right? I mean, you had to give it up for the for the person, so there had to be something there.
Yeah.
Was he presenting, or did you like get that like super mask vibe, and was that what like kind of maybe started the attraction? I'm just interested. I'm very curious.
Yes.
Right?
It was definitely that. Because even, you know, our lesbian, butch lesbian friends, I still feel like in comparing them to Danny, they were just never, Danny was just different. Danny was just different.
So
very different.
So now, you know, there comes this point 5 years ago where he decides to transition and you know, adopt the presentation that he has today. How was that for you?
To tell you the truth, I feel like nothing's really changed much, to be honest. Like, I've been completely supportive. I mean, at first, you know, I was just thinking along the lines of like, I didn't want him to go through any pain
Of course,
to have, you know. So at first I was like, are you sure this is what you want? I don't know. Why don't you rethink it? And then once he was like, yeah.
Do you think you were just playing devil's advocate? Because like I know, like for myself,
Yeah.
like and maybe for you too. Like you're like, oh, wait a minute, what am I What am I doing? Like, is this really the pathway for me? Is there like no other like, you know? Am I dabbling? Is this my truth?
That's what it was. I was afraid that maybe like, you know, because I've learned so much more after Danny transitioned, because I even feel like I've educated myself and I've met so many different, you know, trans people now that I'm like, okay, I get it. But at that time, we really didn't know anyone who was trans. So I was like, are you sure this is what you want? You know, of course, you hear the horror stories that people start transitioning, you know, those at 1%.
And they detransition.
You know, exactly.
All those lies told by the these wacko studies.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This is not that show. I don't want to get on that soapbox.
Yes.
Okay, so you were trying to play devil's advocate, but just to make sure, because out of love, right?
Exactly.
You know, like, hey, honey, it's something of a big step.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And
then,
it's to be expensive too. And I want a cat.
Yes. And then I was like, Danny, okay, fine. We went for, you know, his first consultation together, and then ever since then I was like, all right.
Where'd you go? Did you go to Callan Lord?
No, I went to Aperture.
Oh, okay,
It's in Tribeca.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, Callan Lord was actually packed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I had went there, I couldn't go there.
Really?
It was packed. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't taking new patients or something like that.
Yeah. What were you talking about, the one in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Come up to the one in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I remember when I walked in and I was like, pretty much like this. I sat down and I'm like, just write me a script. I'm totally healthy. And she was like, okay. So, excuse me for 1 second. When did you start taking your testosterone? Was it the 5 years ago?
No.
It was almost
2 years ago.
Only 2 years ago. So how was that?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
So how was that 3 year period? Like, what did you do? Right?
I was focusing on getting sober.
Oh, right. And they didn't want to, like...
Well, I felt like I was slowly coming out. And I needed to get my sobriety really, like, under control.
That's super important.
Yeah, before I started to do this.
But
I was really sure about this. But
even the pronouns, I feel like before you started transitioning, you were asking, like he was asking people to call him by the he, him pronouns.
Yes.
Starting 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, well, that's interesting because, you know, so I feel that it's kind of hard to transition without doing something like super specific. And I think, I don't know about you, but I know for me, it was like once I got those hormones, it was like, yes, that's it. I'm on my way, right? Like,
yes.
Before then, it was just, it was like a pipe dream or it was full of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But getting the first hormones just made me go like, you know, that's it.
Yes.
Did you feel that?
Yes.
You did. So, I'm going to ask you, once he started taking the tea, how was his personality? I mean, how did that change?
I think he actually became more positive, more happier.
Really?
So I mean, I've heard, you know, the tea kind of gets you a little bit aggressive. And
Hello.
A little bit, yeah. But, you know, I feel like Danny was just finally in his truth and it was just so happy. And, you know, I was there to support him. I'm also sober, but I'm sober by choice. You know, thank God. I mean, I've never messed with drugs in my life. I didn't have a drinking problem. But just to support Danny, I've been sober for 5.5 years.
Honestly, don't you feel better? Like, you feel better.
I do.
Right?
And it's kind of fun. Like, when we go out and you see everyone hammered, you're like,
I'm going home and I'm going to wake up feeling fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm going to tell you what you did.
Yeah.
I've been together for 16 years, right? What is it like, perhaps in comparison, I don't know, for you to be with a trans male?
It doesn't really feel any different because we were together for so long. Like, you know, I mean, my coworkers all support it. My family supports it. So
Well, now he's got the hair on the leg.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the scruffy face.
Well, funny story, because when we do things for Trans Lives Matter, and we were just having this conversation with someone who we recently met, and he came to our campaign.
Yes.
And he said, it's really nice that Danny, as a cis man, supports his transgender girlfriend. And
that's beautiful.
It's amazing. We get that all of the time, that people think that Danny, that I'm the trans woman and Danny is the cis man. And I'm like, I love it, baby, because that just shows that I'm fierce.
Well, I love it too, because it shows my realness.
Yes.
No, you know what?
Yes.
Like, to be honest, if I just met you on the street, I would have believed you. I mean, you pass, and you, I would not have doubted. First time I met you was like basically a week ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's a cis girl. No, let's move on, right? But like, I would have totally believed you to be a
cis man.
Yes.
A cis man. You also have that attitude, and you got that like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Does he mansplain more now?
No.
Oh, really?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Danny was just on a whole other level as like a butch lesbian. It was this is Danny for as long as I've known Danny.
Oh.
Yes.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As Jack told me, you are a blessing.
Thank you.
And that's what Jack really told me.
Really?
Aww.
So, what would... Now, you're all in the community. Actually, I want to ask you, so how did you... would you tell me again what you do for a living?
I am a teacher for deaf children with disabilities.
Of?
So
Zumba.
I've had... And I'm a Zumba instructor.
Oh, that's separate.
Well. Oh, yes. So I'm a regular teacher. So I teach, right now I have 5th grade. So I
thought you were teaching Zumba, too.
I do both.
To the blind and deaf kids?
Oh, no. Well,
I was like, golly, that's some skills.
Well, I did for like 7 years. I do volunteer at my job, so I have done it with like the deaf adults and like hearing, and we get together and but not with the kids. Yeah. Yeah.
So, where do you teach?
I teach in Brooklyn.
Yes. And so it feels like it was probably very natural for you to walk in the ballrooms.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, my category is best dressed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not like Vogue or.
No, it's best dressed. So,
really? Drop.
Yeah. Yes. So I feel like it's just a lifestyle. Like I feel like it's something that I just enjoy. I'm always mixing and matching. It's an obsession in a way. But
you're amazingly well. I mean, your shoes, the hem on your dress, your nails, and this top layer on your eyelashes all match.
Sandy would have never noticed that, so thank you very much. Oh, and my bag, that's okay.
Insane. This is why Mama dresses like mostly in black. I'm like, I gotta go. I got no time. Even my earrings are in black.
Yes.
And I keep making this play on like the cross and I think it's, I'm not going to say.
Yes,
I believe in a higher power. Maybe not this
one. I always have my
one.
little cross on.
Hey, you know what? You never
always
know.
On. Yeah,
you never know.
Exactly.
So, do you ever walk together?
Funny that you asked that.
Oh.
We've never walked together, but this upcoming ball calls for a tag team for Best Dressed. So.
And they're asking for Bonnie and Clyde.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Bring it like you just robbed a bank, so we gotta bring it.
So we're gonna be Bonnie and Clyde.
Like flapper kind of like outfits, like 1920s Bonnie and Clyde, right? So,
kind of. But more upscale.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have to look like we robbed a bank.
Yeah, so we have
Well, that would be big guns and like sweat and a fast car.
And it's with the category too, it's not just what you wear, but it's the accessories. So it's the hat, it's the shoes, it's the piece that you have on, it's the bag, it's, so.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to send me pictures.
Of course. Yes. Of course.
So is there any message that you would want to send out to somebody who is thinking about transitioning?
Just from what I've seen, it just seems like all the trans people who we know are just so much happier once they transitioned. And, you know, I feel that a lot of people are jealous of, well, you know, I would say like more cis people. Sometimes hate on them because they're just jealous that these trans people are able to live their truth. And that's what I've seen a lot, you know, and it's like, no, just do what you got to do. Don't worry what other people think, because you have cis people who are supporting you and think you're fab.
Yes.
So.
And we love you. We love our allies.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's it. Well, I want to thank you guys. But before I let you out of this little segment, why don't you tell me about your activism that you're currently engaging in?
Oh, okay, that's for me. I didn't know who you were asking.
Both of you.
So you go first.
Well, I'm going to, our campaign, our, you know, Won't Be Erased campaign.
Which is going to launch the same date that this is aired.
Yes.
Perfect. Look at
March
that.
31st,
Look at that.
Trans Day of Visibility. So I was a daily protester for months. And I think that protesting is extremely important. But I wanted to amplify the protest and amplify trans people, black trans people, all trans people. I mean, specifically black trans people are being murdered more than us. So I wanted to amplify our voices through photographs and through videos and create this campaign that does give us visibility and justice, and to be visible. And, you know, we're marginalized. We're you know, we're always discriminated or harassed. And I wanted to bring this visibility as much as I can. And, you know, the campaign's going to grow and grow. More people will have their pictures taken, and everyone will have their visibility in this campaign. And we're not going anywhere. We're not going to be erased.
Exactly.
You know?
I can't wait I can't wait to see the amazing models and photos that you've got.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're one of them.
I have a model. Oh, that's right, I am.
Yes.
And so is Lipstick Lee Rose. And your outfit was just to die for.
Yes.
You know, and here I am, like, showing off my Easter best. All in white.
No, you look fabulous.
you did.
Everyone,
You
I
did.
feel like every trans person's authenticity is such a key.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and it's an opening for our future. And, you know, maybe things won't change right now,
Yes.
but we're a lunge into that future. So
one heart, you know, every hand not raised in hate is one more heart turned towards love.
Exactly.
And that's...
And I mean, even in the campaign, it's diverse. So it's allies, it's trans people, it's black people, it's children. Like, we have every type of person in this campaign to raise our voice. So I'm really excited.
Amazing. And I'm honored to have been, actually, I really am honored to have been part of it.
Absolutely.
Because I think that y'all's advocacy, like, exactly dovetails with mine.
Yes.
In terms of, like, uplifting and sharing these experiences.
Yes.
Because we are not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
We are finding our voice, and I think it's important now that we take back our narrative.
Yes.
That our narrative, we've allowed other people to have the narrative for us, but I think we are now finally in a position where we can own that narrative, and we can start, like, getting, you know, just by talking to people, saying, look, you know, I live my life.
Yes.
All of us, we're just living our lives. We don't mean, you know, you do you, let me do me.
Yes, and you know, a lot of people don't understand, like, we're not looking to be accepted. Like, we're just looking to be respected as a human being. Like, we don't want to be dehumanized. Like, just treat us as a regular person. Like, don't go by our gender or our color or any of that. Like, there should just be no hate whatsoever. It should just be, we're a human being, and that's it. And that is the message.
And we each have an amazing amount of value.
Yes.
And, you know, as a society in general, right? For, like, no matter race, gender orientation, that we are stronger as a society when we celebrate our diversity.
Yes. Right.
Far stronger.
Yes.
You know?
And, you know, like, protesting is huge. Like, protesting...
Oh, you need it.
we need to protest.
We need both.
We need all of that, And when I was brought to the protest, I was more aware of what was really going on in this community, And I was like, wow, and I need to do something more than protest, but we still do need to protest, And Queen Jean was the person that inspired me. Iman Leclerc was the person that inspired me. Marquise Wilson was the person that inspired me, and all of these 3 people really woke me up. They shook my core, and they're like, this is what's going on in our community, and we're not going to back down. So they inspired me to uplift this campaign.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yes.
And I'm glad you're here. And I hope everybody out there enjoyed watching this. And I forgot to mention that this is coming from ATD Studio A. Big shout out to Or Israel for giving us the opportunity to be able to film here. That's right. Huge supporter. And to my girl Ani, who got me these flowers for my birthday because Mama just turned 29 again.
It's Aries season.
That's right.
Yes.
And so that's it. I want to thank you guys for.
I kind of want to just also thank my team for the campaign.
Yeah.
Our team is amazing, from our makeup artist to our photographer to our other co-producer, Romeo. Everyone in this campaign made this happen, and thank you so much. And stay tuned for March 31st with this.
Yes.
Trans Day of Visibility.
Hoo-yah.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Fendi Gucci Prada, Fendi Gucci. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for continuing to tune in and all the artists that we've had today. It has been amazing. My crew has been amazing. And thank you all for being out there and watching and paying attention and sharing the love. And, I especially want to thank my hostess, Duchess. Girl, what you doing?
What?
Why you on your phone?
Don't kill me.
Okay.
I forgot to do my donation.
All is forgiven, my love. All is forgiven.
I just need to look up above to that link and that donation.
Thank you so much.
Better late than ever.
That's right. So, one last little bit. Girl, I came out all dressed in black because, black is slimming, right? You obviously didn't need that. Where did you get that outfit? We got a spotlight on the print.
Thank you for noticing.
Hello, noted. Who couldn't notice?
You know what? This is made by one of my a good friend of mine, a Chicago designer, a gay designer named Boris Powell, black designer. Support. I have been known to do a little shopping on his site, and
hello.
My name is Duchess, and I'm a shopaholic.
Hi, Duchess. We all are. So, what do you think of the talent we've had this evening?
I've seen some amazing performances, learned a lot about the Rainbow Railroad, right? And I think it's great what we've been doing. The artwork was amazing. The visuals were amazing. I truly had a good time. And you know what, guys? This is my first time co-hosting.
Duchess, I swear we could not have done this without you. I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Anybody out there in the listening audience or watching audience is looking for a hostess for your next event. Duchess Davi, Instagram. And I also have to take a moment and give a shout out to a couple more things, especially back there in the booth. And I know she don't want to come out, but I've got to ask the one and only.
Come on, girl.
Drewcilla Fischer, the singularity. Girl, please come out here. For those that while she's walking out, we could not have done this without her. She's been behind, keeping us on time, keeping us on track, running the content, running everything. And what you are looking at right here is the House of Jax. Yes. That's right. These are my girls. We are family. Hey. So really, from the bottom of my heart, Drewcilla, thank you so much for running this show. It's been amazing.
You're totally welcome. I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else tonight.
Love you.
Thank you, girl. You made this job a lot easier for me. Because I was like, when do I go?
There were a couple of moments when Drewcilla was going, stretch.
I'm like...
So, all my love to the male member of the house, Jake Alfieri, artist extraordinaire.
Yes, Jake.
To my girl Nikki Horton, playing guitar, shredding it up.
Give it up, Nikki.
To the Mod twins,
Miss Dylan.
Dylan Mars and
Mr.
Matt Ellen.
Yes,
that's right. And all the guests that I was able to talk with, all over, such as Tony Dobeck,
Bennett.
Hi, Bennett. Bennett, when can you come to New York? Anywho, and of course the amazing
Ashton Giza.
Ashton Giza, that's right, for coming in from Railroad. But I also want to give a thank out and a shout out to our fam there, from the gorgeous House of Gucci. Oh, yes. Danny Gucci and Lee Rose, the fabulous lipstick Lee Rose Gucci.
Gorgeous Gucci.
And please follow their movement, the Won't Be Erased, because this is all about for us all. It's been an amazing time trying to uplift and present a positive experience of our community, of the transgender community. And so once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody, Duchess.
Thank you, Nikki.
Drewcilla, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to donate.
We forgot somebody.
Who did we forget?
All of our lovelies who are viewing on the other side of that screen.
And thank
you for tuning in to watch us run amok for the last 2.5 hours.
Figuring it out on the fly. And with that, we're going to take it home. All my love and happy Transgender Day of Visibility. Mwah.
Flying high, you know how I feel. On by.